The Baltimore Ravens got in the win column on Sunday against the Cleveland Browns, and Ravens long snapper Nick Moore joins us again to talk about Lamar Jackson, Mike Green, where the team stands, and so much more coming up on Locked On Ravens.
You are Locked On Ravens, your daily Baltimore Ravens podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Ravens. Welcome into the show. I'm your host, Kevin Ostreicher of Ravens Wire, here with you on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks so much for being here today on Locked On Ravens, making Locked On Ravens a part of your day and your first listen each and every single day. And thanks so much to all the everydayers, first-time listeners. If you're somewhere in the middle, thank you as well. 5 days a week plus more of daily Ravens coverage and content here. And we have a jam-packed show for you, as we always do. Ravens long snapper Nick Moore, should I say tech genius, Nick Moore is back in the building with us today, diving into all things Ravens. We'll, of course, talk about Lamar Jackson, how the game went for the Ravens on Sunday. And, of course, we got to talk about the special teams as well, because there were some big momentum plays in that game, Nick, that I know I'm really excited to talk to you about. So before we get into everything, I want to remind everyone that today's episode of Locked On Ravens is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Nick, the Ravens, I know it was a tough week for you in week one. You wanted to bounce back in a big way in week two. And look, you put up 40 points, 41 against the Browns team that has a sneaky good defense. And I know the storylines, there were a lot of those. Joe Flacco coming back. I know there was some bulletin board material, I guess. I know we didn't get a chance, Nick, to talk after week one. Obviously, 1-1 for the team right now. I mean, how do you feel like the first couple weeks of the season have gone so far? I think there's a lot of positive momentum to build off of. And of course, I think it's really exciting that every week you guys can continue to build off of some of those things you want to continue to improve on and hopefully improve on week after week.
Yeah, I think right now we've done really well so far this season. I think, in week one against the Bills, I thought our offense looked fantastic. I mean, they were, lighting up the field, running the ball really well, throwing the ball, catching the ball. I thought overall our offense was dynamic and very dominant in that week one game. We struggled a little bit on defense and even on special teams as well. And I think moving into week two, it was kind of the script kind of flipped a little bit. I thought we played really well on defense, and I thought we also played really well and had some game-changing plays on special teams. And in our offense, we didn't run the ball quite as well against what some people say is the best defense in the National Football League. And last year they were up there in the top one or two defenses out there, and against a really good team. And offense did what they could. We luckily defense and special teams gave them short field a couple times, and we were able to score touchdowns and capitalize on that. And we made all of our field goals. And I thought overall we played really well. And I think now it's like we're moving into week three. We got a really good matchup coming up against the Detroit Lions at home on Monday night. I think we're looking to put all three phases of the game together at one time. Play really well on offense, play really well on defense, and then make some game-changing plays on special teams. So I think we're in a really good spot. I'm very happy with where we're at. Obviously, we'd love to be 2-0, but it's the NFL, and it's a very difficult league to win games in, especially on the road in a hostile environment like Buffalo. So, I think we've done great so far.
Yeah, look, I think the response was great from you guys on Sunday, and obviously, the things that you're able to improve on. It's a long season. You still got a long way to go. So I'm excited to see the growth that continue to happen here. But I want you and I, Nick, to have a Lamar Jackson appreciation corner for a couple of minutes here, because I think the things that Lamar's doing, and, you mentioned the run game, that Cleveland defense is really good. And, the offense at points sputtered throughout the game, but still, you look up and the team has 41 points and Lamar has 4 touchdowns. You're like, whoa, all right, hey. They actually got it going as the game went on. And so all the stats about Lamar right now, currently after this game against Cleveland, he's the all-time leader in NFL history in passer rating. He just now nudges out Aaron Rodgers, 102.648. We're getting into like the really a couple decimal places down the line, but still can't take that away from him. He has the most games with 4+ passing touchdowns since 2021. You also have a couple of other stats that have surfaced over the last 24 hours where Lamar Jackson, he had, first of all, 3 touchdowns on 10+ air yard throws in week 2. And he also, aside from having the highest passer rating of all time, also has the most rushing yards by a quarterback of all time, obviously surpassing Michael Vick, and that has been a thing. for you, Nick, watching Lamar on a weekly basis, and you and I talked about his leadership a couple of weeks ago and just how he's grown and your interactions with him there. But I'm curious to kind of just hear, watching him, and he doesn't necessarily, and the offense doesn't necessarily have the best game on Sunday. And that offense still is so high powered, so explosive. And with Lamar leading that charge, I mean, I always try to say we cannot stop appreciating Lamar Jackson's greatness. I never want to go numb to what Lamar Jackson does on the ball field, because you look at that play to DeAndre Hopkins, and both of them honestly, but the one where they called him just short, he's running around in the pocket, throws that ball, and you're just kind of like, yeah, that's what Lamar does. We've seen that over and over again. I don't want to ever get numb to that. What's it like just trying to see what he does each and every week on the field and trying not to go numb to it because he's so great at what he does?
Yeah, Lamar is the most dynamic player, I think, in all of the NFL. The things that he can do with the football, I mean, at this point, it's like he could do anything. Like, you want to say surprising, but it's like the guy can literally do anything. He could flush the pocket. I remember there was like a 3rd and long we had yesterday, and he got flushed, and he's running like 20 yards backwards and scoots around. As he's getting tackled, he throws a dart to Zay Flowers for a first down. And I'm like sitting there because I'm thinking like 3rd and long, we're going to go out there and punt, especially when I saw him get flushed. And I'm like, I should have known way better than that. Like, he's always going to give us a chance. And I think he's continuing to build off of, I mean, really, you look back, even back into 2023, like since he came back from getting hurt in 2022, he has just been on an all-time tear, I think, over the last 2+ seasons. And he's just continuing that same trend. Like, you're seeing the stuff in practice, like we're seeing it done in the games. Like, he's just so electric. And with him at the helm, I mean, everything is an option. Like, you have to honor him in the run game. We got Derrick Henry. We got weapons outside, and Bate and Tez stepping up, and Tylen and Zay Flowers, and then Mark. And then we'll have Isaiah Likely coming back, and Charlie's out there doing what Charlie does. And we have so many different weapons. And with him at quarterback, it just makes everyone that much better, because he is everybody. You have to have eyes on him. Like, everybody, even, you're playing man coverage, and you just, like, if you're covering a guy in the flat, like, you got to have eyes, because you never know if Lamar's going to end up showing up. And, it's just, he's been such a cornerstone of our team, and in our offense in particular, but he's just been so good for us for so long, and he's just continuing that trend. And, I think for him, like, the sky's the limit. I know, his goal is to win a Super Bowl, and I think right now we've made a lot of strides in the first 2 weeks of the season, and had off to a better start than we were this time last season. So I'm really excited to see where we move forward. I mean, we got the Lions coming into town this week. It's going to be another really tough matchup for both sides, all 3 sides of the ball, really. And then we go to Kansas City after that. I mean, we just, every single week, it's like we're playing like the heavy hitters of the league. And, I think for us, it's great. It's getting us battle tested early, and, it's really kind of giving our guys a chance to kind of see where we're at, because we know where we're at. And it's just like putting it out there and showing everybody where the Ravens stack up.
I think it's interesting, too, because we saw a lot of pressure put on Joe Flacco from the defense. Now we know Kyle Van Noy did leave the game with an injury, and the reports are saying that he might miss a couple of games. We'll see how that all unfolds. I know John Harbaugh is keeping that all tight to the vest. Don't want to reveal anything for that Lions game, right? But John Harbaugh was asked about Mike Green, and obviously a rookie who was very electric, super high motor, and was honestly really close to getting that first career sack against Joe Flacco, just barely missed out on it. And John talked about how over the course of the game, Mike kind of tightened up a little bit with some of his angles on his pass rushes and on his run defense, talked about how physical he was off of the edge. And, even though there's still a way to go, Harbaugh is very confident that, hey, he's going to keep making that same kind of progress and those strides. And he's happy with the way Mike's been playing, and honestly had a lot of high remarks on Malachi Starks and Teddy Buchanan and honestly Tyler Loop too, right? I know that rookie class, I think, is making an impact. I think that stamp of approval from John Harbaugh, it's very telling about the fact that these rookies can make an impact week in and week out. I mean, what have you seen from Mike and the rest of this rookie class, and how they've helped impact the game so far? Because I think, again, if Kyle Van Noy has to miss some time, Mike's going to have to step up in a big way, and it feels like John Harbaugh is pretty confident that he can.
Yeah, I want to take just one quick step back. We were talking about Lamar, and I had this thing I was letting you finish.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You said he had the most 4 touchdown games of any quarterback in the NFL since 2021. Is that what you said?
Yes, I'll pull the exact stat up. Yeah, most games with 4+ passing touchdowns since 2021.
You know, the crazy thing is he's missed 11 regular season games since 2021.
It's unbelievable.
Actually 12 because they sat him in 2023 in week 18.
Yeah, and actually
He's missed 12
along
games.
that same vein, he also like the fourth quarters he doesn't play in. Like I want to count those up too, right? Like
that's just goes to show Lamar is something special, and I'm just fortunate I get to witness it on a day-to-day basis. But
yeah,
moving into the rookie class, I think they have been really good so far. I've been very impressed with Malachi. Obviously, I got a huge connection with him from the Dogs going to Georgia. He was a stud at Georgia. I know Coach Smart was high on him. So I expect a lot from him just because I watched him play in college for so many years. I know a lot of his teammates from college. I played with a lot of the guys he played with. So I have high expectations for him, and I think he's done a great job, overall for his first two games. And Mike, I've gotten the pleasure to work with Mike a lot because we've been so deep at that pass rush. He's been doing a lot of special team stuff, also being a rookie. He's been trying to find his way on the field on special teams. And so I've gotten to work with him a lot through OTAs, minicamp, and training camp. And I've been so impressed with his physicality and his like tenacity. Like he's eager to learn. Like he didn't play a ton of special teams at Marshall. Obviously, I work with him on punt, and it's such a different game in the NFL than it is in college when it comes to the punt side of special teams and punt return as well. And he's just dove headfirst into it. He's like, I need to know, teach me this, like, show me how to do this, talk to me through this look. Like, he's been so eager and he's been trying to learn as much as he can. He's been very coachable, and I've really enjoyed getting to know him and work with him. And I think he's going to be a fantastic player. I thought yesterday, coming in, like I thought he went from, he was going to maybe be a situational guy to having ended up playing a lot throughout the game. And I thought he did a great job. I don't know the ins and outs quite like Coach Harbaugh does, but I'm excited for him to get an opportunity because this was kind of getting his feet wet against a really good offensive line and a really good tight ends that they have in Cleveland. And, if he's going to end up having to play a lot more going forward, he's got a great test this week against another really strong offensive line and some really strong pass blocking tight ends. So he's got to have another big test for him, but I think it's going to be a great challenge for him. Eric and Steve and Nick and Ozzy and all the guys in the scouting department, they do such a great job of drafting people that are what we would say they play like Ravens, and that's physical, that's tough, that's high energy, high motor, high effort, never quit. Like those are kind of our staples of what it takes to be a Raven. And I think all these rookies, from Malachi all the way down to Teddy to Tyler to the Jay, the undrafted guys that made the team, I thought they all show those characteristics, and they've all done a fantastic job. And we've been asking them to do a lot. They've been playing. We got 3 rookies starting on punt and playing on all phases of special teams. We got Malachi basically starting on defense. Tyler's obviously the kicker, and Mike's having to play a lot. Teddy's playing a ton on defense as well. And these guys have just been a blast to work with, and they've really starting to put it together. They've gotten super comfortable in our systems, whether that's whatever phase of the ball that they're on, and they've all done a great job. And I'm excited for them to continue to learn the game, get more experience playing in these big time games. Because 3 of our first 4 games are prime time, 5 of our first 6 are against division winners. Like there's no better test or challenge to getting your feet wet. You're getting baptized by fire. And it's going to be great. I think these guys are all going to be fantastic players in this league. And I know that they're helping us win games right now, and they're going to continue to do so for the rest of the season.
Yeah. And I love John Harbaugh's answer because, it was clear and evident to him. He shared that, in real time, he saw Mike Green getting better throughout the game. And again, if KVN has to miss some time here, that confidence in saying, hey, you know what? There's still room for improvement, but he's already showing this. He's already showing that. I think that's really important, especially for the entire rookie class, as you mentioned, that are being asked a lot right now, whether it's on special teams or just in their regular roles. And coming up in the second part of the show, we'll talk about some other players that are stepping up in the wake of some injuries alongside some other Ravens commentary. So stay tuned. A lot coming up on Locked On Ravens. First, the show is brought to you by Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anyone else as of August 2025. From footwork to breath work, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings this same intention to how they craft every model. You can feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but. From smooth handling to intuitive controls, with all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. And the show is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. When you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, and get smart categorization of your spending, as well as finally feeling control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Now, for me, I linked all my accounts to Monarch and immediately spotted a few subscriptions that I really wasn't even using. And so canceling those alone actually saved me money every single month. And I've been big on the spending. So Monarch was a lifesaver in that regard. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNFL. Back here, Locked On Ravens, Kevin Oestreicher and Ravens long snapper Nick Moore still diving into Ravens football talk. I think one player that everybody's hoping can get back on the field as soon as possible is Patrick Ricard. Obviously, he's been missing for the first couple games of the season. I know John Harbaugh talked about it a little bit on Monday, saying that the recovery process for Pat hasn't been as quick as the team has thought. And he's disappointed. Pat's obviously the most disappointed and more disappointed than anybody. He hasn't been out there, but it's given opportunities for other guys to step up. And I think Zaire has been one of those players. Obviously, Charlie Kohler has played a role as well, especially with Isaiah likely not being out there. I mean, what does it mean to kind of see not even just those two guys in particular, but everybody stepping up and stepping in? Jair doesn't play in week number 2. And you see guys like TJ Tampa going out there and making an impact, and other players stepping up in the moments. We kind of talked about it with the rookies in the first part of the show, but especially in that week 1 game for Zaire, I mean, you a guy that, hasn't had experience coming in there and making an impact like that, continuing to build off of that in week 2. Football is a game where there are going to be injuries, unfortunately, and I think it speaks a lot to the Ravens' depth and what they have built out there around you guys to be able to weather some of that storm over the course of a full season.
I think for Zaire in particular, I've seen it. He's been on the team since week 3 last year. I don't know anybody that works harder than he does. That guy is out early every practice. He's doing extra in the weight room. He's doing everything he can to get an opportunity. And they asked him to do something that he hasn't really done a whole lot, at least since he's been with the Ravens. I think he said he played fullback before, but he basically went from being a blocking, receiving tight end to, hey, we need you to play fullback. And he stepped up without, basically without any questions asked. He just said, tell me what to do, I'll do it. And that's just kind of the person he is, and that's the work ethic that he has. And that guy's he's a gamer. He's a competitor. I think I've gotten to go up against him a ton over the last year and a half on scout punt, and him being on practice squad last season. He gave us a lot of work on special teams, and I could only imagine he did the same to our defense. So for him, I'm happy for him because he's getting his opportunity. He worked his tail. He is like the prototype for a guy who just continues to work and work. At Georgia, we used to say chop wood, and that dude's just been chopping wood nonstop. I would imagine his entire time in the NFL, and he's finally getting his opportunity. I thought he played great in week 1, and then this past week we asked him to do a lot more on special teams. And from that standpoint, I thought he did a fantastic job coming in against the Cleveland Browns punt rush team that they had 4 guys over 285 pounds, and so some big physical guys. He got out there. He played his tail off. I was very impressed with him just watching the tape this morning. And I'm excited for him to continue to get this opportunity and continue to go out there and show him that, like, this guy deserves to be in the NFL. He's a great player. He's a physical player. He's a high energy, high effort guy. So I love it for him. And, with Charlie, I think we've seen, over the course of his career, he's a really, really talented tight end, blocking tight end. He can do, to me, he's a lot like Nick Boyle was, very physical in the blocking game, does a lot on special teams. Obviously, his load on special teams has been down since Isaiah hasn't been on offense, but he can play everywhere on special teams. He does everything he's asked to on offense. He catches balls and he can get upfield. And, he's just a steady Eddie player. I really love having Charlie on the team. He's super smart. He helped, everyone around him gets better because he has so much knowledge about football. And he's a huge addition to our team. And I mean, he's a huge part of our team and our success that we've had over the last couple of seasons. So for him, this is what I expect from Chuck. I think he's a fantastic player. And I think he's going to continue to play at this level. So I love it for him. And, big shout out. I mean, TJ coming in, he played awesome on defense. I mean, he's been fantastic on special teams. I think he earned the opportunity that he got yesterday. Like, as far as he's been playing gunner, he's been playing corner, he's been doing all kinds of different stuff on special teams. He's really showed up. Talk about a guy who made a huge jump from year one to year two. I think he's just been fantastic. And yesterday, just from the brief moments that I got to see him make a play, like, I remember he broke on a route and knocked it down, and I was just like, whoa. Like, the speed on that cut was just insane. Like, how he got downfield and got to that ball was unbelievable. And so I love it for the kid. I think he's fantastic, and I'm excited for him to continue to get. I mean, he earned his right to be out there. So I hope he keeps getting opportunities like that and keeps doing the things that he did yesterday.
Yeah, all of them, I think, have made a name for themselves, and hopefully will continue to be able to do that. And again, it's over the course of a year where injuries will happen, and it's about the guys you have behind those guys. And I think that not just the star power, not just the depth, but the depth behind the depth, everything. You have guys that can go out there and play. Coming up in the final part of the show, we're going to have a lot more Ravens content and coverage. Of course, we'll talk to Nick about special teams as well as what he saw from a couple of Ravens receivers in week 2. So be sure to stay tuned. A lot coming your way on Locked On Ravens. First, the show is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel's making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet, player props, building same-game parlays, even jumping in live as the action unfolds. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup, and it's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to your Sundays. And for the Lions and Ravens, that's going to be a big week 3 matchup on Monday Night Football. Ravens right now are 5.5-point favorites at home. So I like that number. I think the Lions are a good team. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Baltimore has the edge roster-wise, and hopefully they could be getting back a few key contributors this week as well. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Back here, Locked On Ravens, Kevin Oestreicher, Nick Moore, still rocking out with you here on this Tuesday edition of the show. Nick, before I ask you about the special teams aspect of the game on Sunday, because really, you guys played a really big part in that win, Tez Walker and DeAndre Hopkins, right? Zay Flowers has been the dominant guy in terms of the target share, and Lamar trusts him, and he's been targeting him. But we've seen DeAndre and Tez make the most of the opportunities they've been given. And I don't know if you know this. I'll just say it just so everybody's aware that Eric DaCosta compared Tez to Torrey Smith. And Tez, obviously, his first 3 touchdowns, or his first 3 catches have been for touchdowns. Torrey Smith's first 3 catches were also all for touchdowns. So it's kind of funny how the world works and how sports works, but Tez makes the most of his opportunities, and obviously DeAndre himself just being the veteran that I think the team brought him in to be, making spectacular catches, and he's making everybody know that he is not washed, and he was never washed in the first place, by the way. So that narrative was never even legit in the first place. But watching those two, it's almost like the young guy and the vet making impacts and helping your team win. I mean, what's it like watching those two play?
I think it's funny that people are surprised that DeAndre Hopkins, now playing with arguably the best quarterback in the league, is doing well. I mean, did we forget that he at one point was the most dominant receiver in all of the NFL. And I think he's the best catcher of the football of arguably anybody that's ever played the game. The guy catches everything. It's unbelievable. The touchdown he had against Buffalo was insane. I see him do stuff in practice. Like I was laughing because they were doing a drill and they showed it in one of our meetings, and they were doing a drill, and D goes out there, does like they're doing this catching drill. D goes out there, catches one-handed, and then one of the young guys goes out there, tries to catch it one-handed, and they were like, "No, only DeAndre can catch it one-handed. Everybody else has to catch it with two hands." I'm like, because the guy can catch anything. His hands are so big, it's just unbelievable. So for me, I am not surprised. Like, he's in a great system. He does a great job of doing his role, getting open and catching contested balls, which that's what he's good at. He's one of the best at that. And so I'm not surprised in the slightest that he is playing well, and he's going to continue to play well. And I think they robbed him of a touchdown yesterday. That's just my personal opinion, but I thought he had two yesterday, and he's he is who he is. He's a great player. He's a vet. He's arguably going to make the Hall of Fame one day, maybe. But Tez, man, people forget that he's got like world-class speed.
Yes.
Like, he's like an actual runner. Like, he runs like 100-meter. Like, the guy's like legit fast. Like, in a straight line, he might be the fastest guy on our team. And I've seen it from him at gunner. I've seen it and him on as corner on punt return. I've seen it with him on kickoff. I see it with him in practice. And last year didn't get a whole lot of offense until he had that great catch against the Giants for a touchdown. And we started calling him toe tap Tez. And then he goes out yesterday, and in a game where our offense, like, Zay gets the targets because Zay gets open. He's so fast. He's so shifty. He's such a good route runner. He has such a good understanding of Lamar and our offense and what we're trying to get done. He just finds the hole. So he's he's the guy. You just give him the ball. He's like open 90% of the time. Yesterday, credit to the Browns, they did a great job of covering him up for the most part. So we had to look other places. And Ted's getting his opportunities, making two great catches, scored 2 touchdowns. Tylen scoring a touchdown. And I just think, again, it goes back to like playing with quarterback like Lamar. Like, never give up on the play, because that dude's going to continue. The play is going to go as long as the play is going to go. He can escape the pocket. He can outrun just about any pass rusher in the league. He's going to keep the play alive. He's always looking to make plays downfield. So credit to those guys for never giving up and continuing to do what they do best and outrunning dudes. I mean, Tez just flat out outran that guy on the touchdown he scored. I think it was his second one. And that just goes to show what kind of player he is. And, we've seen it all. All of us have seen it, and he's going to continue to do the same thing. I hope that he continues to get opportunities like that to make plays, and maybe he'll get a catch that's not a touchdown. So he's not a guy that, every time he catches, he's guaranteed to be a touchdown.
Oh, man, let's keep that rolling. If
it would be awesome if that is,
yeah.
But that's not necessarily the case all the time. It's
right. Yes.
Nobody can do that.
That would break historic records that we have never seen before. Yeah. So yes, obviously there will be a day where Tez doesn't catch a touchdown. Everybody will be shocked. Yeah. And then of course that will be, I think, the natural progression of what an NFL career as a wide receiver looks like. But I do have to quickly ask you about the special teams, Nick, because obviously you play a big part in that. And I thought the special teams played a big part in just how you guys were able to win that game yesterday. And, Kyle Van Noy on his show, he talked a lot about the unit and, talked a lot about Tyler Loop. And he said he loves how the fans go Loop after every time he kicks the extra point and everything. And, and John Harbaugh talked about it too, but I think the big conversation is the kickoffs right now. And, he said, like Van Noy says, you got to keep working on those kickoffs, but said that that's not a knock, right? It's that, he said, please don't clip this and make it a knock, because he clearly didn't mean it that way. But he said, we all have something to get better at, right? He said, Randy Brown's been doing a great job with Tyler. And Kyle talked about how it's hard right now. Like, when teams now are getting the ball, when you kick it in the end zone at the 35, like he said, that's a hard play. And then you run the risk of, when you do kick it before the 20-yard line, you're getting the ball at the 40. So you have to make those decisions. And with the culture of special teams, Kyle mentioned it, that Baltimore has, it's important, I think, to John Harbaugh and to everybody, I know to you and everybody in that group, to get everything down as best you can. And also the blocked punt, Van Noy kind of said, when you hear that, boom, like the sound of the ball getting hit off the foot and then hit off the arm, like it's the worst sound in sports for the punter. And I give credit to Bojorquez for toughing it out, because I know he was banged up on that play. But What was kind of your assessment of the unit as a whole and how you guys were able to help the team win?
I thought yesterday we had one of our best showings. I can't quote exactly, but I'm pretty sure every single kickoff that was returned was tackled inside the 30-yard line, which is unbelievable. And going to Tyler, like Kyle's right. We have a standard in Baltimore, and that like special teams is part of our DNA. We take pride in special teams. Harb's being a special teams coordinator, he knows everything there is to know about special teams. He's involved in most of the meetings. Like that dude has got his hands in it because he knows it. He loves it. He understands the importance of it because in the NFL, most games are won by less than a touchdown.
Yep.
So special teams plays a part in every single game, whether it's field position, whether it's getting a big return, whether it's, keep pinning them deep on a kickoff or a punt or making, big time field goal. Like those things are so important in this league that you have to be good at those because you have one slip up and it could end up costing you the game. And so for us, I thought yesterday we played great. I mean, that's the first time since I've been here that we've had a legit blocked punt. Like we've had, I know Jalen Ferguson had a blocked punt a couple years ago against the Bears, I want to say. We've had a few like balls that we tipped that have gone past the line of scrimmage, but that was like a legit block. And Jake Hummel, man, he's a stud. He did that in LA. That, it's part of the reason why we wanted him because blocking a punt is an art. Like we've had plenty of opportunities over the course of the 6 years I've been here where guys have gotten free and they just don't block the punt. And they either run into the kicker or they miss the ball altogether because blocking a punt is hard. It's not easy to do. It's a moving target. You're running at full speed. You got to get just the right spot. Usually you're getting blocked by somebody else. So you're having to contort your body in a way to get to the ball. And it takes talent to do that. It takes like practice at doing that. And Jake, man, he came off after the first punt. We rushed the punt early in the game. He came over. He's like, dude, he's like, I almost had it. He's like, I thought I had it and I made the wrong step here. And he's like, I'm going to get it. Like, we're going to do it again. I promise you I'm going to get it. And sure enough, that joker went out there. We did another rush. And because we're not a team that rushes heavy because we've had such great returners. So we do the return stuff because it's a weapon for us. If we can get an extra 10, 15, 20 yards from our return game, then why would we not help our offense out and put ourselves in the best chance to get a good return out? And we've had great returners the entire time, for a long history of great returners here in Baltimore. But yesterday they saw something and they went with the rush stuff. And Jay came up, made a great play, beat the personal protector, and had a huge block for us at that point in the game. That was a huge play for us. But we weren't doing a whole lot on offense. Defense was doing their thing, but we hadn't got a whole lot of momentum going. And so when that happened, it just totally shifted everything. And that was like, boom, that was a huge play. I think we went down and scored a touchdown. And it was it's such a massive play, top to bottom. I thought we played great. And, just to touch on the kickoff really quickly, what Tyler can do from the kickoff perspective, you got to understand it's only his second game, well, fifth game if you count preseason. It's only his fifth game in this new system, right? He came from college. I spoke on this a little bit on Ripken's show. He came from college where you just hit, basically just go and hit touchbacks every time. Kick the ball as far as you can. Yeah. To now it's a finesse play because if you get a touchback, you get the ball at 35 and the scoring percentages go way up. So yes, we want to be better on that one, but he's going to continue to work on these other ones. And he's going to get better at them every single week. And I think it's a weapon for our team. And it's going to really help our kickoff coverage unit, and it's going to help our defense because we're going to be able to get guys pinned deep. So we're going to keep working on it, and I think overall we're going to get really, really good at it.
Yeah, I thought it was overall a really great effort from you guys in general. And I mean, even Kyle talked about how, the turning point right off the beginning was the blocked punt that Jake had. Yeah, and that you're right.
Huge play.
Can't come back from that, or it's really hard to come back from that. And I think that was the momentum play where you're kind of like feeling out who's going to grab the momentum. And all of a sudden you just kind of snatch it right there. So I thought that was a huge play that really did set the tone. But Nick, I appreciate you hopping on again. Thank you for your time. Before I get you out of here, again, tell people where they can find you and what you're working on and how people can connect with you.
Social media, Instagram, Nick Moore 046. I'm on Locked On at least once a week on Do the Squad Show.
Yep.
Once a week. I'm on Ryan Ripken's show twice a week. Catch us on Mondays and Thursdays. Trying to get as much content as I can out there. Working on the Twitter, contemplating whether we're going to do that or not. I haven't decided yet. I got to consult with my PR rep, aka my wife. And so we're working on some things, but there's going to be a lot more content coming on this show and shows just like this with similar people. So I'm excited for what we have in the future.
We got a media superstar in the making right here. So be sure you tap in with Nick, follow him on social media and on Twitter when maybe it eventually, who knows if it's going to come or not, but when it happens, be sure you follow him over there as well. And links will be to Nick's Instagram in the description down below. Nick, I appreciate you again, my man. Thank you. And thank you to everybody who watched and listened today to Locked On Ravens. We'll be back here tomorrow with more Ravens coverage and content. So be sure on the way out, hit the like and subscribe button in video form, follow along in audio form, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow on Locked On Ravens.